We see a girl walking and a man sitting on the sidewalk. She will come aggressively. The man says he doesn't want money, just asks if the money that's on the floor is hers. Without a second thought, the girl says that the money is hers, yes. And once again, she turns around aggressively and rudely, asking what he wanted this time. The man asks if she doesn't have some money she can give him. Even more impolitely, she responds by saying she doesn't have it, and as she walks back, she tells him to go to work. She enters her house. The beggar looks at the man in the car and nods negatively. The man in the car gives his arm and crosses out the name Heloisa from a sheet of paper, and the scene cuts. We see another girl walk, and when she passes in front of the beggar, he gives a compliment, calling her elegant. The girl turns around just like the other and says she didn't ask. The man then leaves a clock on the floor and then asks if the watch belongs to the girl. She turns around and without a second thought states that the watch is hers. The man then asks the girl if she could not help him by giving him something to eat. She, in a mocking tone, says yes, goes towards the man and kicks the water bottle that was next to him. She then soon runs into the house. Once again, we see the man inside the car lower the window and ask for the beggar's assessment, and once again we see him shake his head in negative. This time the man gets a little more upset by the answer and cuts the name Isadora off his list. Once again, when the little girl walks past him, the man sitting in the street screams to get his attention. She turns around gently asking what he wants. The man asks her if she has a coin she can give him, and once again gently the girl replies she doesn't. The man then asks if that cell phone on the street is hers, and the girl says it's not hers either. The man then says that he is very hungry and that he has not eaten all day. The girl then gently offers her little lunch boy. He nods his head affirming and makes a yes sign with his hand. The man in the car then, instead of cutting the name off his list, makes a heart over the name Hello. We see the girls talking sitting in some chairs. Isadora, the girl who was in the pink outfit, is telling her cousin that she went to the mall and bought lots and lots of new clothes. Heloisa says her father offered her a trip to Disney. Isadora says she's been to Disney 3 times this year and doesn't care anymore. The scene cuts. We then see the two men talking outside. The beggar hands the cell phone to the other man and says he hopes to have helped. The other man replies that he helped a lot, thanks him, and out of his pocket takes a block of money claiming to be the payment. We then see Heloa come in and sit next to her cousins, greeting them. They, in a tone of mockery and derision as well as with the man outside, greet their cousin without paying much attention. The little girl doesn't notice and asks her cousins if they know why they were called there. Isadora says she does not know, and so that her cousin is quiet because her voice bothers her. Heloisa bullies, saying that as always her cousin appeared poorly dressed. She and Isadora laugh. We see a man come in and greet them asking how they're doing. Heloisa asks Fred, the man who came in, where their grandfather is. She wants to leave soon. Fred says he is very sorry to have to give this news, but says that the girl's grandfather unfortunately left them 2 days ago. Isadora, not caring one bit about the loss, says that it was about time. He was already very old. He must have been over 90 years old. Heloa asks her uncle Fred if that's true. Carefully he approaches and crouches in front of the youngest of the three, says that it is sad news, but that unfortunately it is true. She hugs him asking why. Fred, trying to explain, says that her grandfather was already very ill, and that before leaving the grandfather gave him a very important mission, which was to make the division of his inheritance. Isadora, now paying attention, hurries the man, asking what he is waiting for to start. Heloisa agrees and asks him to start soon. Fred responds by saying that it will already start when he suddenly falls, and Isadora tells him to be careful with his clown shoe. Heloa goes to Fred and gives his hand to help him up. He thanks him. Heloisa mocks her cousin, saying she's a fool. Fred says he's going to explain what's going to happen. That their grandfather left an inheritance of surprise for them, which in these 3 boxes each corresponds to one of the girls. In order for them to go and choose one of them, who can come pick a box and stand in front of them, they get up and stand in front of the boxes. Fred says that as soon as he says it already, they can open the boxes, and then the counting begins. 1, 2, 3, and now. They open and he says he'll explain what's inside the box and what it means. Starting with Isadora, she says that the globe she took represents all the properties and lands her grandfather had, and that it is now hers. She is open-mouthed. Fred goes on to tell Heloisa that the octopus she took out represents the Yates collection her grandfather had that are all hers. She also perks up at the news, and to Heloa, he says that the collar is for the puppy Philo that his grandfather had and that he loved very much. Heloa is very happy with the news. Fred goes on to say that they've opened the boxes and already know what's inside. Now they have to decide who's going to get what. He says he'll be back soon and that he hopes they'll have already decided when he comes back. Without losing a second, Heloisa tells Isadora to give her the land and the two begin to dispute the globe. Isadora claims to be hers and Heloisa tells her cousin that if she doesn't give the globe, the two will fight. Surreptitiously we see Fred open the door and the man who was outside watching the girls. Isadora says she is not afraid of her cousin, telling her to keep the boats, she has one. Heloisa responds by saying that she wants the land and that it is much better than the boats. They continue to fight for the globe. Heloa then tells her cousins to stop fighting, that Grandpa wouldn't like to see them fighting over such a thing. Fred tells Alan that it is obvious that only Heloa is nice. Alan asks him to wait because he still has hope. Heloisa tells her cousin to shut up and not mess up. Isadora tells them to settle as adults. And the two start throwing rock, paper and scissors, with Isadora winning in the end. Heloisa accepts defeat and takes her octopus, which at least will keep all the boats, which can sell and make a lot of money from them. Isadora then says she finds it funny. She got all of her grandfather's valuable land, Heloisa got the boats, and Heloa was left with only one dog. The two are laughing, and Isadora asks how much Heloa thinks her grandfather's old dog and drool costs. The cousin says that she will not sell her grandfather's souvenir, that they can keep the land and the boats, that she will keep the puppy. Heloisa, laughing, says that she can stay with the fledgling dog and drool. We see Alan upset, saying that it's already made quite clear that Fred can go there and tell the truth. Fred says to leave it with him and enters the room. Fred starts talking to the girls, says he's given them a good amount of time and asks if they've been able to talk, if they've come to an agreement on who's going to keep what. Isadora says yes, they've already decided. Fred then asks what the decision was. Isadora says that she will keep the properties and the land, Heloisa with the boats and the poor Heloa with her grandfather's old dog. Heloisa laughs. Fred speaks again, who sees that they have already made the decision, but that there is one more thing that they do not know. Isadora unpolitely asks what it was now, and calls Fred a clown. He then tells Mr. Alan to come in. We see Alan enter the room shaking his head in negative, and Heloa runs up to her grandfather full of happiness. Her grandfather picks her up and says he is alive, very much alive. Heloisa asks what's going on. Alan asks if they're surprised and says it was a test. Alan says he is very disappointed in Isadora for picking up a watch that didn't belong to her. Isadora, shocked, tries to hide the watch, saying she doesn't know what her grandfather is talking about. Alan says he saw everything, he was in the car, and for her to return the watch. Against her will, Isadora returns the watch and stands dumbfounded in the corner. Alan then turns his attention to Heloisa, saying that she took money that did not belong to her, and tells her to return it. Snorting, she hands the money to her grandfather, tapping his hand. She comes back and also gets dumbed down in front of her box. Alan then turns to Heloa, says she's his biggest pride. She didn't take what wasn't hers, fed a person who was hungry and didn't mind just staying with a puppy. Isadora then asks her grandfather if he means that none of those things are theirs. Her grandfather replies that that's exactly what neither she nor Heloisa deserve anything he has. Heloisa says it's not like that. She goes to get her father's boats and goes to sell everything. Alan says she won't, that she and her father are too spoiled. Isadora tells her cousin that she had said that their grandfather was useless, that it was useless. Heloisa agrees and says that it would have been better if he had hung up his boots. Alan then yells, telling Heloisa to want more respect. She just tells him to leave her alone. Fred tries to calm his boss down by asking if he prefers him to break the news or prefer to break the news himself. Fred then starts talking, saying that by their grandfather's decision, only one of you will keep all of his inheritance, and for obvious reasons Heloa was chosen. The two are outraged, saying it is not possible and that it is wrong. Alan then says that they have to do to deserve what he has, that this was his decision. Isadora and Heloisa say they are tired of that they leave. Alan tells them to leave because he has a lot to learn yet. He then picks up Heloa and once again says that she is his greatest pride indeed, that when she grows up everything her grandfather has will be hers, and that she is sure that with her heart she will manage it all very well, that he is sure that she will take care of his most precious possession, his legacy. He gives her a kiss on the forehead.